All right, Panther fans, hockey fans, everybody, all the fans. We've got it going on today. My buddy Stu is here. Stu, you got somebody with you this morning?
Well, it's always great when we get Billy to join us. You know, busy guy, knowledgeable
absolutely.
guy. He's Mr. Panther. He's one of my favorite people. So
Yep.
Thanks for taking the time to join us. Lots to talk about.
Absolutely.
A lot of exciting things. Billy, are you like tripping out like we are on these moves?
I'm excited. The possibilities are there about the regular season. We needed a piece in the top six, aggressive. But what's most exciting is that we've had the green light from ownership and Bill Zito to be very aggressive with his team, knowing that the window is wide open at this very moment, and this is the chance that this team has to push. So to get that green light from the owner, Bill Zito to be very aggressive, knowing it, he needs a top six defense. That was the number one priority, to get a veteran defenseman to fit, and hopefully a left-handed shot. They get that in Ben Chirot. So to come in, address that immediately, gets that done. Then you have some salary cap flexibility to go out there, and you've been rotating players in that top six lineup. You've had Mammon on the left wing, you've had Tippett, you've had Vetrano, you've had all kind of experiments to play along Barkov. Now you're looking to fill that hole, and you fill it with Claude Giroux.
I know.
You talk that, and it checks off more. The Panthers at the trade deadline honestly could have went out and just found someone that was good in the faceoff circle, because the inadequacies that they have in the faceoff circle, they're 29th in the league. It's someone they need. And so Claude Giroux, he's run over 58% his last 5 years. He's at 60%. He's one of the best in the business in the faceoff circle. So he checks that box off. He can kill penalties, can play on the power play. Doesn't get much more. And if you're sitting in that locker room, you cannot be much more happier as a player to know that you've got this coming on board and a chance to win a Stanley Cup. These guys have to be ramped up for this stretch drive and excited for the playoffs. You get limited chances to win a Stanley Cup, and you got to see what's in front of you. Now it's about these players and their ability to perform once that puck drops in the playoffs. You have to be able to rise to the occasion, get to the playoffs, and see if you can accomplish the feat of getting past the first round and moving on and winning that Stanley Cup.
Yep. So yeah, Billy, I echo Stu. I know you're a busy man, especially this time of year, so really appreciate you coming out. With the thing that gets to me now, a couple of things is the center depth is laughable. Where you talk about if you played everybody at position, you'd literally have Lundell at 4C, and that would still leave you Achari and Reinhart and Joe Thornton out.
Yeah.
So to your point about the face-offs, because it's an interesting point. We everybody's assuming that Drew.
And that's something we really didn't even discuss in our previous videos. So that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I didn't know we would 29th in the league. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Not too good.
If we assume that you got Drew at Barkov, do you think at all we'll see where, like, instead of like a Lundell or a Luosterainen taking a face off in the playoffs, that you might see a Drew come out there and just take the face off, win the face off, and then switch out? Because otherwise you still have you got Barkov out there. Drew's probably a little bit better, so I guess it'll take some of the pressure just off of Barkov.
Mm-hmm. No question you do that. Got a line change, defensive zone, and that's where he's been best this season. You look at Drew in the faceoff circle; he's excelled in the defensive zone in the faceoff circle. So you put him out there, Lundell, Luosterainen, don't want him to take a draw on the defensive end. You get Drew, faceoff, gets out, he changes.
Yeah,
Luosterainen and Lundell comes on. You'll do that commonly as a coach, especially if you have the last change on home ice. And you're able to get that last line change out there and get the faceoff guy that you want out. So you'll see that a lot. You'll see Giroux out there for Lundell and Luosterainen taking faceoffs, kind of mixing and matching. But he'll be out there. It won't always happen in the course right at the start of the games, but as the games move on and you start to see where the score's at and the importance of the faceoffs, then you'll start to see Giroux especially take a lot of defensive zone draws.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Stu.
No, I just think the most important thing right now is to see where the chemistry is, and hopefully, there's chemistry with Barkey and Verhage. Man, mainly Barkey, but it would be nice because that's what you know that's the hole we needed to plug,
Yeah,
and
well,
it just makes it just makes perfect sense that
yeah.
that he's on
See
that.
what happens now too is it does give Andrew Burnett a ton of flexibility. So you see late line changes. You take a team like Edmonton. If you look at their lineup, they're playing some good hockey, but with Evander Kane coming on, they're still not a very deep hockey club. So when it gets late in periods, late in games, and they're trailing and they're down, they have to load up Draisaitl and McDavid, play them together a lot, maybe in the third period, put their two superstars together, play them around 23, 24 minutes a night, try and get back in the game, puts a lot of tax on some of those star players. It does give Andrew Burnett the flexibility to put Huberdeau and Barkov together without really sacrificing anything. So if you want to put Huberdeau, Barkov, and Declare together, you just move Giroux into the center position, and you play him with Bennett and Verhage.
Yeah.
How about Barkov, Huberdeau, and Giroux?
Yeah,
Oh,
or whatever.
jeez.
You can mix and match those top nine forwards all you want and kind of rotate out, and you don't have to sacrifice. And this is where the strength comes in with that fourth line, with Achari being available, Losterinen, Hornquist, Thornton, Mammon for the playing. Lomberg. Yeah.
Right.
So if you want to play on this team, the internal competition for ice time, there's going to be some bumps and bruises and injuries, and that's why you want to have a team that's loaded like this. But when the Panthers are at their deep, and what separates them from other NHL teams around, and why you want to win a Stanley Cup, is the Panthers are able to roll four lines consistently, and they can get their top guys around that 18-minute mark, 19-minute mark, and their bottom guys have defined roles, and they're going to be able to play 12 minutes a night. And it's very exciting for those guys to come to the rink knowing they're going to get ice time. And they play this tempo fast game when they're at their best, which is speed, go. And they take away the time and space of the opponent, and it's go after line after line after line. And all four lines are so good that the third and fourth lines too are the separators. The third and fourth lines, the depth, if you look around, are so much better than the other third and fourth lines on other teams. So you can just go that, and it's just blitz. We'll see if you can get after us 3 periods, play with us at this speed. Can you keep up with us shift after shift after shift? It's not possible for almost, if you watch around, for when they're at their best.
Yeah,
I believe
the waves.
And by the end of the game, it's like good luck. Most teams,
exactly.
It's just just wait for white flag.
Well, that's why we've won so many games, 7-1, and it's just constant. It's just constant, like you said, Billy. It's like blitzkrieg. We need a healthy Lundell. That third line's the best third line in the league. I mean, Eric and I was saying, I wouldn't even call them a third line. They probably would be a second line at some other team, and maybe even a first line for like Arizona.
Right.
But I watched this morning. Scotty Hartnell said we won. The trade deadline, whatever you want to call it, whatever war or competition this was, we won it with both Sherrod and
Drew and Hag.
But I want to know I want to know on the defensive side now. We pick up this kid Haig.
Yeah.
What can you tell the guys out there about this kid?
Well, Haig and Sherrod are both just steady defensemen, can play. So Sherrod's going to come back with the Ekblad injury for foreseeable future, 4 weeks down. You're going to need Sherrod and Haig to eat up some minutes, but they're NHL veterans that can play. And what you need some consistency wherever Sherrod fits, whoever you want to play with, Mackenzie Weegar on that top pairing, and then get the pairings. But Brandon Montour's had to play with a bunch of, you look at Montour's had to play with Yo Levy, Lindbohm, Nudavara, Carlson, going down the list. So hopefully for the stretch line for Brandon Montour, you want to get him a consistent partner, whether with Hag or Sherratt or down there. So you'll see. I think Sherratt and Hag will both play with Montour at some point and during this stretch and get some comfortability with that. So those guys will be able to eat up the minutes, and they're experienced guys, exactly what you need. They know where it takes. Sherratt was on that playoff run with Montreal last year. He was good, played over 25 minutes a night for the Canadiens in that run to the Stanley Cup Finals against Tampa Bay. So he's been there. He's been part of it. So these guys are just veteran guys that know their way around. If you look at some of our guys that have filled in, Carlson's done a nice job. Lindbaum's been okay, but these guys, they got 500-600 games under their belt.
Right.
When you get veterans like that, they know what it takes, and it's important to have that versatility in the lineup. So they really bolstered their defensive group as a whole. It's like the forward group now. Even with the guys that I mentioned, Lindbaum and Carlson, these guys are all capable of filling in as well if there are some injuries. So you have more than enough down there with your defense.
To that question, this was a point I made on Twitter yesterday, and I'm curious about your opinion on it. Obviously, when we got Sherratt and Ekblad was healthy, there was a plan. Now that plan has to change. Do you think that will change what we do come playoff time? Because now on the eve of the playoffs, do you want to change all three pairings up again? Because when you insert Ekblad back in, then Hag doesn't even have a spot. So I guess my question to you is, what do you think that does now for when Ekblad comes back? We were thinking before Ekblad got hurt that it would still be, to have Ekblad with Sherratt and then Weegar and Forsling and then Gudas with Montour. But then to your point about wanting Montour to have a partner he's used to playing with, it looks like that may not be able to happen again.
Yeah, well, if Ekblad's healthy, you're not breaking up Ekblad and Weegar. They played together all year.
Right.
I know we're on the side of they should be broken up. We could spend a whole video talking to you about why. I mean, there's been.
Well, I'll give you this. You want this for comparison? The Panthers, last I checked when I was going through my stats, has scored 163 goals at even strength. Okay, Ekblad and Weegar have been on the ice. Ekblad has been on the ice for 85 even strength goals for. Weegar 83. That is second and third in the NHL. So over half your team's 5-on-5 strength goals scored for.
Right.
You have Ekblad and Weegar on the ice. Over half, 5-on-5. Over half of your goals scored. The two players on the ice for those goals. Ekblad and Weegar. Why would you break that up? They're playing against the other team's top lines. It's been there's no way you break that up.
We've been looking at all the mistakes, and they're two offensive-minded players.
Yeah, so
not so much Ekblad this year, but Weegar has made some.
Yeah, you got to live with it though. He's plus 30.
Okay,
right?
So that's the answer.
Right.
Got to live with it. All right, listen, Billy. That's why we have you on here. To set us right. But
in Stu's defense,
stats at us.
In Stu's defense, he's also a big fan of the lefty-righty combination, and that was part of it.
So yeah, okay, maybe you do part of that, but it's a hard time when they played together. When you play together with someone for 60 games,
right?
You know each other inside and out, and you fit like a glove. And they're prone to some turnovers and some mistakes. It's high flying. And Mackenzie Weegar, I would agree the last 10 games have been a bump in the road for him, but it's a lot of ice time for him, and he mishandles the puck, and there will be some mistakes at some points. But to me, if you break those guys up, I guess you could see where if you want to play Sherratt with Ekblad and Weegar with but Gudas and Forsling have been together all year,
right?
And
I said Forsling and Weegar only because they played together when Ekblad went down last year. But,
so basically,
I want to know, Billy, when did Weegar wake up one day and think he was Bobby Orr?
Yes, Stu.
He's still 30 some odd points at even strength. He doesn't get any power play time until this Ekblad goes down. You want to tune that in, but if you want to look, it's a high risk, high reward style that this team plays, and it's kind of the NHL game that it's a puck possession game. They want to have the puck on their stick, and they want to be able to do that, and with the breakout, and Mackenzie Weegar, I believe, is going to be fine. And playing against that is when he's on his game in the playoffs. And to me, it's you go through the regular season, 82 games, and it kind of ebbs and flows, and everyone talks about it. Even when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in '96, we went a stretch of 0-7-1 with about 20 games left in the season. Everyone's, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But I firmly remember when that season ended and they addressed us before the playoffs were going to get started. And they talked to us about the media and how we're going to present ourselves as a team. And I mean, I just got goosebumps on, and my hair started to stand up on my arms. And when that puck dropped for that first playoff game, everything goes out the window. The intensity gets ramped up to another level. Everything, you're so honed in as an athlete. You're so zoned in. Everyone's on equal rest. There's no back-to-backs. Everyone's on the same schedule. So there's no disparity as far as, okay, this team's had 3 days off and you're playing back-to-back against them. What's going to happen? Some tired legs. And you drop that puck for the playoffs, everything goes out the window, and there just becomes this new type of intensity that just kind of fuels and goes through your veins. And that's why I think this team, they've been able to handle the bumps in the roads fine. But once you drop that puck and really get this team going in the playoffs,
right.
It just, you're gonna Mackenzie Weegar, 82 games. There's going to be games that is just not feeling it. But when it gets to that play, you're going to get, I honestly believe you're going to get the best Mackenzie Weegar, the best of all.
So again, and then we'll move on. In Stu's defense, the theory that we have is not that Ekblad and Weegar aren't great players. It's almost like Barkov and Huberdeau, where our theory is kind of like Ekblad can be the offensive superstar and Sherratt can stay back. Weegar can be the offensive superstar and Forsling can stay back, rather than having it all at one time. That was kind of the theory, but
Weegar and Forsling, if you're doing that, if you're doing Weegar, I mean, Forsling's a guy that likes to push the play too, though. I mean, he's not. Not your consistent stay-at-home defenseman. He likes to rush the puck, so that's why he's been good with like a Gudis pairing, or maybe you do Ekblad and Sherratt, or maybe you kind of break it up that way if you want to balance it. There is some theory to that, but I wouldn't go with the Weegar Forsling pairing.
Gotcha.
As a kind of as kind of your thing. I think Forsling and Gudis together, and then if you go Ekblad, Sherratt, and that leaves you with
I would have Weegar with Montour. So basically,
So I mean, that's all possibilities.
It's too many toys. It's too many toys.
You're really starting to think, where are we going with all this chemistry that we built during the regular season?
Right. So
you have to stick to some sort of similar path.
Yeah. So to the point about the playoffs and everything like that, Panther fans, this is a question I have for you in terms of from the fans' perspective and from the players' perspective. Panther fans are like, we're in this odd, unique position where on this hand, we haven't won a round in 25 years. And on this hand, everybody's saying they're the favorites now. They're going to win the cup. So how does that, do you think, number one, the fans can get to the level of maybe being a little bit overconfident? We've seen people already talking about how, like, who's Barkov going to hand the cup to? And then on the other part of that is like the players, they see that. And how do you think that works into their mindset when they see the fans are just like saying, yeah, man, these guys are the favorites now?
Yeah, as a player, you're really concentrated. You're in that box. It's changed a little bit with social media and what happens and reading the comments, but you know what you got in the dressing room. So you're really confident in the group. You know the expectations, and the players realize those expectations, and they understand that they have to, that that it all matters most at the playoff time. And Huberdeau and Barkov and all these players being talked about being underrated. They're starting to get on the radar with all our success. Barkov won the Selke Trophy last year. We had that really good first round against Tampa Bay, which I believe they're going to learn something from coming into this playoff series. But where you really make your stamp as a player and really kind of cement everything, if you want the notoriety, is to win in the playoffs. Right. That's where it all comes from, and to eventually hold that cup. So you just embrace the first game of the playoff series, and you just take it one step at a time and just try and stay in your own bubble and not get too far ahead of you. And we're at the task at hand, because the East is really potent. We got 10 teams. We got 8 teams that are in the playoffs, right, separated by 10 points. Jeez. The bottom is 80. The top is 90. So
just our division.
Yeah.
Is strong. They were talking about it the other night versus the Western Conference, and
you got Boston.
I think there was only one team that had like 80 points or 90 points.
Boston's caught Toronto at this moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're both at 83. We're at 90. Tampa's at 86. So first off, on the stretch drive, you want to try and win this division, I guess. But still, you're getting Boston or Washington in the first round, or Toronto. You're to get through the Stanley Cup. If there's any missteps along the way, there's teams, all 8 teams in the Eastern Conference firmly believe they have a chance to get to the Stanley Cup final. If you go out, Capitals, yes. Pittsburgh, yes. Boston, yes. Even with the Rangers, goaltending. So even though you're considered the favorites, you got to play your best hockey. There's no way around it. This team you have to play the best when it matters most. That's when you go from underrated and not talked about to being, okay, yeah, you're a superstar in this league.
Right.
Home ice advantage is so important for this team.
Yeah, so, it will be, but you got to win on the road in the playoffs too.
Of course.
We didn't have home. When we went 96, the only series we had home ice was that Boston series. And we didn't have with home ice against Philadelphia. We had to win Game 7 on the road in Pittsburgh, and it's home ice is important. But I would say it's interesting when you get into Game 7s of finals and home ice. I felt extremely comfortable in Game 7 on the road in Pittsburgh for some reason, and it's one of those things. Yeah, home ice is important, but I wouldn't place as much value on it as some. I put the home record, but it's you still have to win those important road games, and teams will feel comfortable on the road, because sometimes in game, like if you get to a Game 7, and you'll be surprised how quiet even the crowd is, because how nervous sometimes that we went into Pittsburgh for that 7, and it was quiet in that old igloo, because the fans could feel the nervousness of the game,
right,
the tension of the game. So it's the playoffs just take on a whole new dynamic on so many levels.
Yeah. Switching topics here really quick. What do you think about some of the other trades that were made in the NHL, like especially with Fleury going to Minnesota?
Yeah, Fleury to Minnesota. So I take Minnesota and looking at their games. Talbot's been better of late, and they're able to talking in the goaltender that they traded out and to get Marc-Andre Fleury there. But if you went back and look at Minnesota and had Fleury in net all year, they're probably 4 or 5 games higher in the standings. That's what he would mean to this team. And he's older at 37. Talbot's a little bit older too, so you can rotate him down the stretch. But having Marc-Andre Fleury, and he's been good for Chicago actually this year for a team that's bad. He got off to a terrible start, but if you look after his start, he's put up good goal. He's still an elite goaltender. And Minnesota pushed last year for the playoffs. And Bill Guerin, the GM, he's going to be up against the salary cap problems with Parise and Suter buyouts. Their buyouts are going to become issues for them. Yeah. So recognize this might be their best opportunity in some time to really go out and make a case in the West. And the West is kind of wide open if you get other than that Colorado. But there is a chance. So you get a goaltender like Fleury that can steal games. Minnesota has the ability, so that's an important trade. It's a good trade by Bill Guerin, and really gives Minnesota that goaltending. I believe that he's been there and done it before, so he gives them a chance.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not that much older. I mean, I'm not sure how old, well, Roberto Luongo was the year we went to the playoffs, but I believe it was 36 or 37. It was pretty close to that same age.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is that, so we've got
Wait, Tampa.
Oh, good. Oh yeah,
Tampa just rebuilt their third line.
Yeah.
Getting Hagel and Nash, right?
Yeah, they got Hagel, Nash, and they got, who else did they get? They got I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it wasn't Hagel and Nash only. There was some other guy that came in that was pretty potent too. I'm trying to think. But
they always manage to, Billy, it's just incredible. Every year Tampa manages to pull something off. It's like
Julian Breezebaugh, the GM there, and the structure from Steve Eisenman onto Julian Breezebaugh. Well, if you look how they've drafted over the years, the players they've drafted and found late in the draft has been phenomenal. And then the ability to add pieces kind of to that lineup and just kind of plug them in and be role players. Yeah. So it's impressive what they continue to do year in and year out there. And you're at some point probably going to have to go through Tampa Bay.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? We have our full squad. When we get a healthy Ekblad back, we beat them. I'm sorry. We got Vasilevsky's number. We've proven 4 or 5 goals against him. He's not, although he was the unstoppable one, in those last 2 games. But I firmly believe that. And you know what? Call me crazy, but I almost want to play them and knock them off.
It'd be an unbelievable series. They're good. That's a good hockey team.
Yeah.
There's no way. That's one of those series that it comes down to who's disciplined, who stays out of the box. The little mistake.
That's a really good point, Billy, because
the power play crushed us last year.
Yeah.
The Sam Bennett suspension, in the middle of it all, he got suspended. What did he get? 1 game or something?
Reader mentioned that on on the 5 o'clock hour. That
so stuff like discipline, goaltending.
Yeah, that we could have won that first game, and we were looking to win that first game, and then Bennett took the penalty, stupid penalty, and then he got suspended, and blah blah blah. Series turned.
All that stuff. That's what you learned from last year. Hopefully, you incorporate it, and you take all the stuff that you learned from last year, and say, just point to these little things. This is what we have to do different, because that power play was so lethal last year. And, it did crush us. That power play crushed us in that first round.
Right. How do you feel about our goaltending situation? Are you liking what you've seen out of both guys?
Yeah, Bobrovsky, Knight's been good. They did a really nice job with Spencer Knight, sending him down to the minors, getting him some playing time and coming back. And he had to roll the 4 games there on the road trip with Bobrovsky getting hit with that puck. So give him some extra time, give Bobrovsky some extra rest. Bobrovsky's been more dialed in this year. And to the way that our team plays, that we give up some high scoring chances. So he might give up 3, but the most important part with Bobrovsky this year, watching him play, he's made the important saves at the right time.
Right.
At the key times in the game. So throughout this playoff series, I'm fine with Bobrovsky. He seems more dialed in mentally, in a good headspace with all that. So it's just about the timing of the saves, the big saves at the right time. And seems like he's competing in net and being able to give a relief, like Spencer Knight coming in on that road trip. And you see the real condensed schedule that every team's going to have. So winning the Atlantic Division, if you want to throw out the playoffs, the backup goaltender around the whole NHL. That's why if you look at all the backups, they're going to have to play, 5, 6, 7 games here for every team down the stretch, because it's so condensed. You have to have a backup goaltender. They have to play. So winning the division and where you actually end up in the standings is going to depend a lot on your backup goaltender.
Absolutely.
And to that point, still on the goaltending, what Stu and I have noticed, and I've done some research and followed this with Bobrovsky for a few years, so it's not just a one-off thing. we've seen it this year, where somewhere around game 4 or game 5 in a row, even if it's in every other night or it's a regular schedule, somewhere around game 4, game 5, he doesn't look nearly as fresh and rested as he does at the beginning. So I guess the question I have is, do you think we could see a situation at all where you see a Spencer Knight come in for a game 5, game 6, something like that, if Bobrovsky is not as yeah, exactly.
Put it this way, I hope not.
Right.
Because we used Panthers last year in the first round. I don't want to be rolling goaltenders in and out and switching it. And maybe there's a possibility. You've seen it with Pittsburgh over the years, Fleury some games. Murray then comes in and took over. But theoretically, and all hope, and what you want is you want a starter, and you want him to carry you all the way to the Stanley Cup. That's how it usually works.
Right.
No,
Listen, it might not happen every game, but I just found we get Bob 4 goals, minimum 4 goals. We usually win.
Yeah,
I'm okay with him letting in a goal, a goal here, a goal there. Deflection's gonna happen, some weird type of thing, but the offense has to come through in the playoffs. That's all.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a firm believer that Bobrovsky's got to be the guy, and he's got to go. But there's a chance if something does go wrong and you want to get Spencer Knight in there. But for the most part, if I see a Stanley Cup and we're raising, if we're the Stanley Cup champions, what happens is I believe that Bobrovsky is probably the guy that wins the 16 games.
It's always the goalie, Billy. I mean, look at Beezer. Tell me what was it like in '96 when Beezer was like standing on his head and stopping Lindros and Yager and Lemieux.
Yeah, we're nowhere near. We had a superstar in one position on that team, and he was in net. And that is, you look back, he was so valuable to that team in that playoff run, the saves that he made, the confidence that he gave our team that he was going to be able to be back there to bail us out. Van Biesbroek, that goal, I don't know if he's ever played better in his career. He'll probably tell you that, but you look back and the way that he played in that playoffs was phenomenal. And that's been the case for all if you look at when they're going down and trying to determine who wins the
Billy Smith.
The Conn Smythe Trophy for the MVP of the playoffs. It's usually one player, and then there's always a goaltender.
That's right.
So it's you're saying, okay, well, maybe this player's going to win the MVP or the goalie's going to win the MVP. That's usually how it works out, and it's like if you took 10 years, the MVP of the playoffs is 5 of those 10 years is the goaltender.
Yeah.
Patrick Waugh.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about him around here. What are you doing? Who? What?
It's just, I mean, I think I think the two of us have had a shit-eating grin on our face like all week. I know the last video we made, I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop smiling. I mean, I thought the team was good before the deadline was over, but I just can't wait to see Thursday night. I see Giroux with Barkov and Sherratt.
It's good too. Yeah, we got a good for the teams left. Our schedule is relatively. Wouldn't say the 3 games against the Leafs are going to be phenomenal. Looking forward to we haven't faced Toronto all year. Looking forward to those games, but otherwise the schedule plays out pretty good. It's not. We don't have I look back and after that All-Star break, we had one of the easiest schedules, if not the easiest schedule, as far as you're looking at the other teams and their winning percentage. We had the easiest in the NHL. So our schedule, first couple of games, Montreal's they're depleted, traded some guys, got Marty St. Louis. They're competitive, but that's you should win. Ottawa, go in there. There's another team that you should win. Then you get the big game against Toronto. So there's some games that you should be able to bank some points here down the stretch, and you should be able to win this division title if you play good hockey down the stretch.
Yeah, we've got enough of a lead where that should definitely happen.
We have 20 games left, I believe, right?
Yeah, we have
20. So I told Eric, and I actually said this at the beginning, I don't see any reason why we can't get 120 points. 118, 120 points is what I had targeted. I know you're laughing, but think about it. We got 20 games is 40 points. We win a majority of those games. We got 90 points. Add 30, that's 120. We win the division.
I'll take 10. I'll take 10-5 or 11-4 and get us to 110 and 112 in that range, and that'll get us. That should get us the division title, unless something. The head-to-head matchups. If we win the head-to-head matchup, we go 2-1 against Toronto.
Right,
they're out.
Right. Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
So we can throw Toronto out of the equation. If we go 2-1 against Toronto, most likely they're out of the conversation.
Right.
Toronto.
Boston's going to overtake them. Watch.
Toronto.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're right. So, last thing for me, do you think Huberdeau gets it? Do you think Huberdeau gets MVP?
He'll be in there. Probably not the MVP, but I'd like to see him be a finalist in that category. If you look around at some of the years, that Shesterkin, the year that he's having with the New York Rangers, for a goaltender, he's going to win the Vezina, but he's been a most valuable player. And you look at some of what Cale Makar's done as a defenseman, even Roman Josi. It's then Johnny Gaudreau, Calgary, the even strength numbers that he's been able to put up, and then you got McDavid and Draisaitl continuing to click along. That's to actually win it and say that he's more valuable than all those players.
That might be tough. That might be tough.
Yeah.
Right. I said last thing, but one more in that regard.
It would have to put together finals. If we got 20 games left or so, he'd have to put 30, 35 points on the board. Yeah. And if he does that, then maybe a chance. Yeah, there's a possibility. Let's put it.
He'd have to finish on fire. So this is the last thing. It's not possible that Bill Zito doesn't get GM of the year, right? This can't happen again, right?
No.
Come on.
All that voting is done before the playoffs.
Right.
So, yeah, Bill Zito should be GM of the year. Andrew Burnett in there for Coach of the Year. We got a guy. We
won it last year.
Barkov's going to be a Selke Trophy. Too bad for the Ekblad injury. Could have been in the Norris conversation. Same thing with the Lundell injury. But this is or that we're talking about an MVP candidate. We could have had a Rookie of the Year candidate, a Norris candidate, a Selke candidate, a Coach of the Year candidate, a GM of the Year candidate.
Right.
But you know what? All that hardware, there's only one piece of hardware that we as fans and them as players want. That's it, right, Billy?
Yeah,
Billy, if you had your choice of getting I don't even know what a trophy you'd be up for, but seriously, if there's a choice between a personal trophy and a Stanley Cup, there's no question what you want. The players, they don't care, right? Do they?
No, there's 3 goals and I accomplished them. There's 3 dreams, I guess. So growing up, for me, the 3 dreams I had was to play in the NHL. I was able to accomplish that. The second dream was to stay in the NHL. I was able to accomplish that. The third one was winning a Stanley Cup, and I was never able to do that. It hurts. That was I really have a hard time even watching the celebration of the Stanley Cup, because now I could watch it before because it was a reality. I had a chance, but now that my playing career is over, the only Stanley Cup celebration I could watch would be the Panthers winning the Cup, because I've been part of it, part of the organization down there, and it would be a dream come true for me.
Yeah, well, it's gonna happen, my friend. You'll be on the ice lifting that sucker.
Even though I'm still not in my playing days, it's that would be the for this franchise and everything that it's meant to myself and to my family in South Florida and the friends that I've made. If that ever happens, man, I'll probably be crying like a baby.
Yeah, there'll be 3 of us. I'll be 3 of us. So,
well, Billy, we just love you, man, and we really appreciate you. You're such a good guy, and you know your stuff, and everybody appreciates you coming on board. And
I can think of at least one person named Steve who's going to be very, very happy that you schooled us about Ekblad and Uyghur. Trust me.
Yeah, listen.
There's one person, if you see it in comments, there's going to be one guy, and he is going to be your biggest fan. Believe me.
Hey, Eric, did Billy spank us or what with that one? He had to come up with stats.
Hey, I know.
What were the stats again, Billy? Let me hear those again.
The stats are we suck.
163 even strength goals, and Ekblad and Uyghur have been on for 85 and 83 of them, I believe. So
half of the 5-on-5 goals.
50% of our even strength goals, Ekblad and Uyghur have been on the ice for them.
Right.
Oh, okay. I got one more for you.
1 second.
I got one more for you.
Okay.
The power play. Okay, so number one, who do you think quarterbacks the power play? And number two, who comes off if Giroux goes on top PP?
Yeah, who comes off? Declare possibility. Giroux can play over on that side where Declare plays. Yeah, maybe can rotate him in and out. That's maybe going to be Andrew Burnett's toughest decision. Do you play him on the first unit? Do you play him on the second unit? Do you balance out the couple of units you have without Ekblad going down?
Right.
Who's going to be that guy? Theoretically, you could run out 5 forwards on the power play and see how it looks.
About that one,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
but out of the defenseman, because Eric and I, we already know we're in agreement with who. We just want to get your opinion
on the defenseman who should quarterback it.
Yeah.
You got to give Weeks a chance.
Now we're out.
We're with Montour. We think Montour's a better quarterback.
Yeah, Montour can quarterback a power play too. He's done it on the second unit. So, yeah, if you want to put Montour in that spot and give him a chance, first off, that's fine too. It's to me though, I would. The only reason I would try Uyghur for a bit, is give him 5 games or so, is because he's never had that opportunity before. So Montour's done it on the second unit, and Mackenzie Uyghur Ekblad pairing is just because Uyghur with the points, even when you're working 30, 35 points at even strength, you're up there every year among the top scorers among defensemen at even strength. What can he do on the power play given the chance?
Right.
We've never seen it, and he's never been given that kind of opportunity. I personally would like to see it, and evaluate it. Give me a chance to evaluate it and see what it looks like. We know what Montour is capable of because we've seen him on the second power play unit doing it, quarterback in the second power play unit. Give me 5 games of Mackenzie Uyghur and let me see what it looks like.
Right.
And then if I don't like what I see, then okay, let's go to Montour. But I personally would just like to see him with that opportunity and see what it looks like.
That's a really good point. Yeah, no, that's a good point because then if he's good, then we got somebody that can step in if something happens during the playoffs, and we already know Uyghur can do it.
I'd just like to give him a chance to see how it looks.
Yep. Okay. All right, Billy, really, really, really appreciate it, but know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
All right, we will look forward to talking to you again. Hopefully, like maybe right as the playoffs are starting, get your Stanley Cup predictions, which we know you're going to pick the Panthers, and we know I can't pick the Panthers. Anybody I praise, they immediately suck or get hurt. So I just keep complaining, and everything is good. It's been that way for 6. Stu didn't believe me. When I first started talking to Stu, he's like, I don't believe that stuff. And now he's like, shut up, Eric. What are you doing?
Right.
He's seen it enough.
That's right.
It's true. All right.
Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.
Yep.
All right. And listen, guys, you like this video, hit that like button. I want to hear some comments. You want Billy to come back, fire away, ask Billy some questions.
Yep.
Be happy to answer. So thanks again, Bill. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
the keys.
Appreciate it as always. Enjoy it.
Thanks, bud. Bye.